Got a chance to see the Ron Howard directed movie Eden? Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zank. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yep, just finished wrapping on a Tubi movie, and I'm going to be launching a new comic this week, but we'll talk about that a little later. So let's jump into Eden. I'm a fan of Ron Howard for the most part. Some things he directs I like, some things I think are too slow. And sometimes it's just out of his hands, with the writing, as what happened with Solo. But then he gets, stuff like Apollo 13 and things to that effect that are just, standout directing stuff. Then he did, I think he did that Western movie with Cate Blanchett also that I liked. But this had an all-star cast, so I was not going to miss it. But I also know that this was shot it was supposed to be released last year. I think they had a problem with distribution. Like, nobody wanted to take it. I don't know what the situation is. But anyway, it got bumped to this year. And I'm not sure what happened. I don't know who actually picked it up. But I can tell you that they did no marketing whatsoever. Unless I was scrolling through AMC, I would not even know how this film existed. So we had three independent films, back to back, that nobody even knew about, in the same week. So I went to the movies 3 times this week to see independent films, and none of them anybody even knows about. I probably won't even get any views on this video because nobody even knows this film exists. So we had Honey Don't, which again was a very poor movie. And I went to see Relay, which was an excellent film, an excellent thriller. And then I went to see this one, back to back to back, 3 of them. So, again, all 3 of the movies that I went to see, unless I saw them on the AMC website, I wouldn't know they existed because I barely ever see anything, I guess I'm not on, TikTok enough or Instagram where I see the videos of this stuff. So, and if that's the only place that they're advertising, I don't even see it on YouTube. And I'm on YouTube all the time. So I'm very confused about how they advertise this stuff and how they expect anybody to actually go to see the movie if nobody knows about it. So, I think that the distributors are really failing independent film. Because I think this film also made like $3-4 million in the theater. And the main budget is $55 million. But the net budget was $35 million because of the rebate they got from Australia. So a part of it was actually shot on the island, but it was only a small crew that actually went to the island. Everything else was in Australia. So this is based on a true story of 3 groups of people. Okay, so it's a period piece. It takes place in 1936. So this is after World War I. Germany, and the beginning, the stages leading up to Hitler's takeover of Germany hasn't happened quite yet, but it's basically coming into that. So everything's gotten very expensive. Nobody can really afford anything, and this one doctor, Dr. Ritter, who is played by Jude Law, goes to this island to basically get away from everyone and to type his manifesto, where he's basically making a novel manifesto where he wants to save humanity by giving them another way to govern. And so that's his whole arc is about this creation. And Vanessa Kirby, whose name is Dora but with an E, D-O-R-E. And she is his girlfriend. They're basically, not legally wed, but they're basically, married at this point because they're on an island together alone. It's not like she can go date anybody else. So they're going for solitude And, he's a pretty smart guy, but not that smart, right? So then I guess he has been sending articles and stuff like that to the newspapers and stuff like that back in Germany, but yet he finds that he's very surprised to hear that he's famous in Germany, that his solitude has a fan base. So and I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but this is basically the plot. We haven't even got into the beginning of the film at this point. So he has a fan base which is making people kind of come to the island. So it's kind of detrimental to his solitude that, he's looking to have a little bit of recognition. And he's actually surprised when he actually has that recognition. So this other group, who's played by Daniel Bruhl, his character name is Heinz. And again, this is all a true story. And we have his wife, who's played by Sydney Sweeney. They're like 10 years difference in age, the characters are, and her name is Margaret. And and Daniel Bruhl has a son whose name is Harry, who has tuberculosis or something to that effect, and the treatment that's needed they can't afford. So they decided to just sell everything and come to this island and see if the air and everything else changes the tuberculosis, maybe heals the kid on its own. So that's their dream, and now we have 5 people on the island. Okay, so it's all an island film. It's Gilligan's Island without the laughs. So he purposely brings them to a spring up in the mountains where they can't grow anything. That's what his belief is that they can't grow anything. They're not going to bake it, and they'll just leave. That's what his whole thing is. And Vanessa Kirby is with him on that because her whole thing is she wants him. She believes in what he's doing. She believes in the cause that he stands for, and she wants him to complete this thing. So now everything gets interesting because a third party shows up. And before we jump into that third party, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there. And remember too that I am an author myself. I write novels, comic books, and things to that effect, as I said at the beginning. But all my stuff is on Amazon. So you just type my name in, or there's a link in the description below. There's my 4-novel quadrilogy, Destiny Aurora. So if you like things like Star Wars, Star Trek, or Guardians, it's all in there. It's very eclectic, crew type of situation. It's got some comedy. Anyway, it was made into a board game, an RPG, and a graphic novel. It's also on Audible. All my books are on Kindle, including my YA fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch, which is, if you like dragons and griffins and, a new magic system, it all has all that in there. You're going to love that. And then my new comic, Fairy Tales of Terror, is coming out right now on Kickstarter. I'm going to be launching this week. I'm kind of hoping by, not tomorrow, but the next day, like Thursday, I'm hoping to launch. Everything's pretty much ready. I just have to do some tweaks on it. And since I was on the film, I just didn't have time for anything. But I have a Psycho Cinderella. I have a Murderous Captain Hook. They all come out of the novels, and they're being chased around New York City by Tiger Lily from Neverland. It's going to be lots of fun. The artwork is amazing, and I have over 550 people following that right now. Anyway, go to the QR code or the link in the description below. All right, so let's jump back into the third party that shows up on the island, and that is helmed by Ana de Armas, who is playing the Baroness, okay? I think her name is Eloise. Anyway, all these people kind of harbor a little bit of a secret or secretive past or whatever. But anyway, she shows up with one guy is supposed to build her hotel for her. That's the whole reason she came here, was to basically make the foundation of this huge hotel on the beach. and she was then going to invite investors to invest in it to finish it up. So that's her goal. So she has one guy that's there to build her hotel, and then the other two guys are basically her lovers. And one of them is a little bit jealous of the other. And there's a whole lot of conflict that goes on here between everyone. Of course, Jude Law's character doesn't want anybody on the island. Ana de Armas is a spoiled brat, but it was just amazing to see. She steals the show in this. She's very, her personality shines here very, very brightly, and it was weird to see her as the villain. But she plays the villain very, very well. She's very manipulative, and she's a showman, right? Because even at one point, a producer comes in from Hollywood who is friends with Ritter, and she is, sells it up a storm, but he sees it from a mile away. It's very, very interesting. And, she wants to put on dinner parties. She's out of food, so nothing's really working out very well. And where, Hines and Margaret, they're survivors, and they're making a go of it probably more than in the others. But there's actually one member of the group that's actually playing 3D chess this whole time, and you're actually surprised by the end who that one is. But on top of that, so Ana de Armas, I think she deserves an Oscar for this. I think that her performance was extremely... I've never seen her... That's one thing about a good director. So, Ron Howard has been directing the majority of his life. He knows how to get performances out of people, and that's very, very strong. And a lot of his shots, not a lot of them, but there are some of them that are just beautiful. There's some of their really, really cool shots, and you'll see them mostly towards the end. But he is mostly letting the actors tell the story. But he is getting performances out of them. Like Vanessa Kirby, we've seen huge performances out of her anyway. I'm not talking about Fantastic Four. I'm talking about The Crown. Where she's able to already, she's got a list of, great performances already. But Ana de Armas does not. And I got to say that, he was able to pull a performance out of her that we haven't seen before. And then on the other side of the coin, you have Sydney Sweeney's character. And as a person, she is more the flamboyant type. But here she's very reserved. She's playing almost like the Puritan type character. And I thought she did a great job as well. An absolute great job. As far as nudity is concerned, Ana de Armas does wear a see-through shirt at one time, or a see-through dress. And Sydney Sweeney does, she has a baby in this. So she does show stuff with the, breastfeeding to the baby. So there's that. And then, unfortunately, we get to see Jude Law completely naked. Completely showing all the dangly bits. I didn't need to see that. I really didn't. Unfortunately, we didn't see Vanessa Kirby at all. She didn't do anything risque at all. But anyway, in real life, Ritter, which is Jude Law's character, has pulled all his own teeth out. I guess he had some kind of a gum thing, so he has no teeth. So I thought that was very interesting, too. He puts in these teeth to eat, and they're all metal, which I thought was very interesting. But the whole storyline of, how this came to be, and of course, now the island is, of course, fully, inhabited. So it's fun to see, people inhabit something for like the first time, especially in 1936. That's very old to have an island being inhabited. But I got to say that Daniel Bruhl's house, Hines' house, he did a bang up job of building that house, man. Woof! I couldn't have done any of what that guy did. So he, of course, also was in the war. So he's got a little bit of a PSD. type situation going on, PTSD. Yeah, so every character. This is what I wanted to say about the film in general. So is it a good film? Probably not. So it's not like a film like, you're gonna watch over and over, where you're gonna say, walk out of the movie and say, you know what, this movie has, changed my life, or, I'm so excited about this film, like I was with Relay yesterday. No, this one is a more powerful film, and it is not plot driven. It is character driven. So the characters are what drive this narrative, this film. It's not like things happen to the characters. The characters' decisions cause everything. And when you have that kind of a movie, every character has to be different. Every single one, because or else we won't know what the character's motivations are, or what is, causing the character to make certain decisions, and they have to stay in character, or we're rolling our eyes at it. And for that, Ron Howard really kept every character consistent. And even to the other characters. I mean, it was very obvious to the other characters what strings were being pulled here, and, how they were being manipulated. And I really liked that, because we knew one side or the other was going to win. I didn't know anything about the true life story, so I didn't know which direction it was going to go in. I know what direction I wanted it to go in, but that didn't mean anything. And if you watch the end and you see, the history after the story, it's all very interesting stuff. And the character that predicted everything, of course, turns out being right. But again, I think that all the actors really went outside the box of their normal stuff. Jude Law maybe not so much. That it seemed like a normal kind of role for him. Daniel Bruhl also, he was a strong, quiet type. We saw that in Marvel as well, where he played Baron Zemo. But definitely, like Vanessa Kirby, a little bit. It was a little bit of a different character for her. But Sydney Sweeney, definitely outside of her normal. And Ana de Armas, man, if anybody says she can't act, that is not the case. And definitely with Sydney Sweeney as well, where she had to basically take a back seat for the majority of the film, and then kind of shine through a little bit towards the end. So definitely worth seeing if you like character-driven pieces. And again, I think that there's a couple of awards in here. I don't know why people don't like it. The critics on Rotten Tomatoes hated it. It's got like a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and almost an 80% on an audience level. And it's not a film I'm gonna watch several times or anything like that, but it had me intrigued throughout. Even though it's got a running time of over 2 hours long, I was intrigued by everything that was going on and how everything was going to end and resolve, because I knew it being a true life story, everything had to resolve. It wasn't like Honey Don't, where we just had all these different plot lines that just went nowhere. So everything that was set up did resolve, because the writer on this did work on Genius with Ron Howard, so they've worked together before. He hasn't written that many things, but his name is Noah Pink. But I really haven't seen much of what he's done. But I can tell you that with him and with Ron Howard kind of directing him, with them working together, I think that the plot did a good job. I have to read up more about the actual true life story to see how much it deviated from the true life. I can't tell you. I mean, you have to do your own research on that. But anyway, I would definitely recommend it. So if I was going to rank the last 3 films that I saw, So I'm going to give this a probably a 7.5. And so if I'm going to rank it, it's Relay, this, and Honey Don't. So the first two I recommend. The third one I recommend staying away from. And I wish this was making more money. I don't, people aren't going to see it. I really wish people were going more to the theater more often. And I don't know what it's going to take to get people to come out for more than just these tentpole movies. Anyway, that's it for me. Let me know if you guys saw it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you agree with the audience, or did you agree with the critics? Let me know. Remember too to give me the like, the thumbs up, the whole bit. Like this video and share it out there. If you can't subscribe, please do. Check out my stuff on Amazon. Just type my name in or the link in the description below. And definitely check out Fairy Tales of Terror. QR code here, link in the description below, because I am going to be launching this week. So sign up now so you get notified about when that goes. It's going to be lots of fun. I think everybody's going to have a good time with it. Anyway, have an awesome week, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, bye-bye.